It wasn't easy watching the Titans take on the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday, but my team, and you guys know who listen to this show all the time, I'm a season ticket holder, live in Nashville, cursed Tennessee Titan fan. What a win. What an unbelievable win. Massive battle, 2 6-3 teams. Titans are down by double digits in the second half, and just a couple of absolute man plays by the Titans to get the win. The A.J. Brown, if you haven't seen it, the A.J. Brown catch and touchdown is as ridiculous beast mode of a play as I have seen from a wide receiver this year. The Ravens should have had that tackle several yards short of a first down. Would have been maybe a tough decision for the Titans. Do you kick a field goal or do you go for it? And probably I think they would have ended up going for it there. But instead he scores. Then the Ravens get the ball. They get the 2-point conversion, perfect play call. Ryan Tannehill fakes the handoff to Derrick Henry, goes in standing up. I mean, I don't know how that would not have been effective or efficient in that way. Just an incredible performance by the Titans to get a touchdown there and the 2-point conversion. The Ravens drive back down. Justin Tucker hasn't missed a field goal in like 15 years, it feels like. He bombs it through easily. And then you're in this kind of crazy scenario where the game goes into overtime and you feel like whoever wins the toss, it was the exact same situation in the other really, really good overtime game that we saw between the Packers and the Colts, where the Colts had like 8 different penalties on them. Those were, I thought, the two just crazy moments when you have those coin tosses. And you think whoever wins the coin toss is going to win the game. But what happened? The Packers won the coin toss, turned it over, and then the Colts came down and won. And then in the similar vein, you have the Titans who lose the coin toss. Lamar Jackson gets the ball. Titans get their first sack of the game. And the Titans come down and have the walk-off with Derrick Henry. And that play with Derrick Henry, the walk-off. I'll talk about this a little bit later in the show. But to me, there are different games that take place during the course of the season where you answer the question, hey, is this team capable of winning a championship? And I'm not really convinced the Titans can win a championship because I don't think they can get pressure on the quarterback. But I'm pretty convinced now after watching the Ravens play a lot of games, that's not a Super Bowl caliber team. I'm not saying they can't win a playoff game or they can't be in a position where they have a chance late. But this is a team that has some pretty significant structural flaws. And they are getting worse as the season goes on as opposed to getting better. And you know what? In the game I watched between the Colts and the Packers, I felt like both the Colts and the Packers could go on and win the Super Bowl. I really do. Because the big question for Phillip Rivers has always been, is it going to be the guy who can ever get to a Super Bowl, right? And with the Chargers at the end of his career, he couldn't have anybody block for him. And he can't move. He's basically a stationary guy in the pocket. And so if he can't move, then he throws the ball up and he ends up putting himself in a position where there are a lot of opportunities where bad things can happen. And so as you kind of break down exactly what happens there, it's really kind of fascinating to see how good the Colts could be going forward with Phillip Rivers as their quarterback. And we know how good Aaron Rodgers is, by the way. The one thing I think probably Aaron Rodgers would like to be able to do again is I think he would like to be able to have a couple of those plays to do all over again in terms of down near the goal line, whether it was the right decision to spike the football and take away one of the pass opportunities. Because I thought the Green Bay Packers were going to go down and actually find a way to win late against the Colts. And I bet a lot of Colts fans did too after that ridiculous throw on 3rd and 10 down the middle of the field for 50 yards. I really did feel like they were going to go find a way to get it done, and it just flat out didn't end up happening for them. So as you kind of break down in those scenarios, I was just so impressed to see Derrick Henry do what he did to the Ravens again, walk off, and for the Ravens to have to spend as long as they did stewing over that home playoff loss, to have the Titans show up and basically do it to them all over again, that was a phenomenal, incredible lots of fun win to watch. And again, I'm not convinced that the Titans are really a team that can contend for a Super Bowl. I'm not. I don't think they have rush defensive ends. I think they wasted their first-round pick. Got a lot of injuries, major issues on a lot of different levels for the Titans. I am convinced the Ravens aren't a team that can win a Super Bowl now, not as they're presently constituted. And I also believe, if you look forward and think about it, I also believe that the Colts are going to beat the Titans on Sunday and take command of that division. And I do think the Colts can start to get hot because they have the defense that could theoretically give a guy like Patrick Mahomes some trouble in the postseason. And I'm not sure how many other teams have a defense of their caliber. But man, what a win. What an incredibly fun game to watch. I'd like to think my team could win a division and we could host a home playoff game for the first time in 12 years or so. But we'll have to wait and see what exactly goes on there. So early games, fantastic. Titans, Ravens, and also the Packers and the Colts. And going forward now, we also had a phenomenal Sunday night football game, the second divisional game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Raiders. And boy, oh boy, was this a game that you and I and everybody else out there had an awful lot of fun rolling into Thanksgiving week with. And, I mean, let's be honest. That's what Patrick Mahomes does. He wins games that you think your team is going to win. The Raiders went on the road and they won in Kansas City earlier this year, and they thought when they hit Jason Witten for that touchdown pass, I guarantee you, hey, worst case scenario, we're going to overtime. And the great teams don't try to get into overtime. They try to win the game in regulation and not leave anything to coin flips or who gets possession or things that are outside of their control. And what is in the Chiefs' control is this. They have the best quarterback in the NFL, and if you were the Oakland Raiders, even after that Jason Witten play, minute 45 or so remaining, the Chiefs went the length of the field, and what I loved about it was you saw very early on, this is not a team driving to try to bang through a 45-yard field goal. They're trying to win this football game. And the Raiders had a bust dropping it, looked into zone coverage. Travis Kelce worked his way across. Mahomes got outside the pocket. He's wide open as Travis Kelce can ever be on the football field, given he's a pretty big target. And Mahomes found him, and he made the Raiders pay. And to me, I was talking earlier, not sure about the Titans, certain that the Ravens aren't a Super Bowl contender. It's pretty clear, I think, at this point that both the Colts and the Packers are. Raiders aren't a Super Bowl contender. They may be a playoff team. We'll see exactly how the rest of their season ends up shaking out. They've got a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Derek Carr did a lot of things well last night. But ultimately, they didn't have Patrick Mahomes. And when you don't have Patrick Mahomes, guess what happens? Sooner or later, Patrick Mahomes makes you pay. And it was late that he made him pay. And as a result, that's why I keep saying, until something crazy happens, the Chiefs have to be your favorite to win the Super Bowl. They're better than they were last year. I think they are less challenged because they feel a little bit to me like the New England Patriots with Brady, where every now and then they don't rise to the same level as their regular season competition. But when it gets into the postseason, it's going to be really, really hard to beat them. And I don't think anybody is. I think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl this year and repeat as Super Bowl champions. Now, it's hard to do. It may require them to go on the road against the Steelers. Home field advantage is going to be of minimal importance, I think, this year. You know what's never going to be of minimal importance? Having the best quarterback in the NFL. And I think ultimately that the Chiefs gave you a little bit of a preview for what they're able to do last night against the Raiders. You can't give them the ball with a chance to go down the field and win, because I felt like it was like 9 times out of 10 that was what was going to happen. I was sitting watching this game, and I said, look, the Chiefs being able to put this game into overtime is a foregone conclusion. So I said, kind of talking to myself. The question was, are they going to get the win? And you saw a couple of different quarterback situations. You saw with the Packers, Aaron Rodgers tried to do the same thing. He wasn't trying to put that game into overtime late against the Colts. He was trying to win it. And you felt like he was so angry at himself that he didn't manage to drive, whatever the heck it was, 92 yards and get that score in that situation. And you know Patrick Mahomes would have been furious with himself too if the game had gone into overtime. And so as you break all this down, the three biggest and most interesting games, I thought, Colts going up against the Packers, Titans against the Ravens, and the game that we saw in the night, phenomenal games, all three of them, the Raiders hosting the Chiefs. Ultimately, it came down to big-time quarterback play, and nobody has bigger and better quarterback play than the Chiefs, which is why Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have to be, I think, even more of a favorite this year to win the Super Bowl than they were for much of last season.